This joint that I'm wearing, I made this morning. Actually, this is a prototype for Limelight Creative Education. We're going to wear uniforms this year, so this is one of the uniforms I made for the guys. It's going to go down. This is what we're going to wear this year. Limelight Mind State started as a lifestyle brand that I never got off the ground because I was a very broke artist at the time. Um, but um, this emblem came in a dream. I was actually in the bed with my girlfriend at the time, and sorry, my daughter's here. I was in the with my girl at the time, and I woke up out of the dream, like maybe 3 or 4 a.m., and I drew the symbol. And at times I was like, babe, this is it. This is it right here. And she's like, what is it? And I didn't have a name for it yet. But the thing about me is like, if you ask me what something is, or if you ask me how to, I'm going to come up with something just looking at it. So to me, it was Lion Like Mind State. But I was already reading again in the Bible in the Old Testament. Um, there's a King David. He wasn't king yet. He was out in the wilderness with his wild boys, his men, his mighty men. And one day, I think it was Joash. I think his name is not Joash, maybe Jehoiada. Anyway, he went down into a snowy pit on one day, and he killed 2 lions in the pit. It's very hard to do. He killed them with a spear. Next time, they said there are 2 lion-like heroes of Moab, and he killed them. Now I thought about that. Now in the Bible, they don't necessarily talk like Egypt, where there's Thoth with an animal head and a body, or the crocodile head, and they don't really talk like that. So why are they saying lion-like men? They're not saying those men are lions or had lion heads. They're lion-like. Well, what does that mean? Well, it means they didn't have any fear. The way that they fought was very ferocious. They just went at it. They went at it like Judah. They're lion-like heroes of Moab. Also, the word lion-like, lion is Ari. Lion-like, it means lion of God. It means, like lion God, like Super Saiyans,
Mm-hmm.
basically is what it means.
Okay.
So it means, and the another word to say the word in another script is Ariel in the Bible. Ariel, like the Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
Ariel. Another way is Araya. My daughter's name is Araya. Her name is Lion-like. But also, you're asking about the origin of lion-like, where it come from. So yeah, that's the symbol. And then as I looked on it, then everything else came upon it. Like, well, okay, well, what does it mean? That was the next question. Okay, so name it, give it the name, and then give it meaning. All right. So then I give it meaning. Well, what is it? I looked at it. It's consistent, conscious, and bold. What does that mean? She asked that question. Well, the circle represents consistency. I was going through it. I was hungry a lot. I was really going through it. So, but I wasn't stopping. I was on my mission. So that's me right there. It's also your body. It's your mental. It's your body right here. This is your being. The circle. It's 2 things. But you stay consistent. Stay in your bubble. Stay in your bubble. The line up and down is your consciousness. Conscious, consistent, consciousness. Well, it's an up and down line. I want it to be straight up and down. I want it to be a straight line. Not only that, be conscious in how we're thinking about each other, how we're speaking about each other, how we're acting towards each other. Be conscious of how I'm speaking about myself, how I'm acting toward myself, how I think about myself. Be conscious of how I think about God, how I act towards Him, how I talk about Him. Be conscious of that for me. The dots, boldness, they're the exact same. The one outside, that's your God self. That's the God body. The one inside, well, that's your true self. That's your true body. That's your God body as well. They're exactly the same, but they're not connected to your consciousness. Your consciousness takes on a mathematical aspect, whereas this is a line, not a line segment. Line segments stop. Lines don't stop. This gap is infinite. This gap represents reaching. The gap doesn't represent a stop. It represents I am reaching. I'm reaching for what? My true self. My true self is what? It's divine. That's a lion like mind state. I'm never going to stop. And that's what it is. And stay in alignment. Stay up and down. Stay in alignment.
That and can
Don't
you,
cry, bro. I see the tear. Don't cry.
you
It's
know,
okay.
I love it. And
Give thanks.
let's number one, the first thing when you said you got the idea like at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. I do believe that sometimes some of the greatest ideas and things come in during that period of time for some
Hmm.
strange reason. My theory was because majority of people are I have this hypothesis where there's a bunch of, um, information passed throughout the ether, but since everyone's awake during the day, then it's kind of all clouded, but since majority of people are sleeping at night, then it's easier for that information to come through, so that's
Come
just
on through
my
the airwave. Yep.
yeah. So that's just
Come
my
on through.
hypothesis
It's
about
easier for
that.
you to receive it.
Yes, you're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, there's not so many receivers up.
Yeah.
If there's not receivers up, then when you tune into a frequency and there's not 100 frequencies, on my Bluetooth, my car, when I pass someone who's using the same frequency, it'll and tune in. And I hear what they're listening to.
Mhm.
Well, if they're not around, then I can hear my station very, very clear.
Yeah,
And
no
it's the same.
disruption.
No disruption. It's the same.